Hey everyone. This is an impromptu video and something I'm not used to doing, but I've been sitting here. I'm reading a book, Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. It's probably going to turn out backwards on the camera. And I can't help but think about this solar eclipse coming in Aries and all of the hype around the date, what's going to happen, what the predictions and the prophecies, the concern, the fear, and the concern, I feel, is coming from both sides. It's coming from the spiritual community, if you want to call it that. It's coming from the mainstream media. It's coming from everywhere. And it almost is giving off a Y2K vibe. I don't know if you remember that time where before Y2K there was huge, massive fear and everyone was talking about it and it was all over the news. People were preparing. Although I do feel there's a level of preparedness that's important no matter what, in case anything happens, in case there happens to be an electrical shortage, outage, in case something drastic happens in your area, then yes, it's good to be prepared. But I don't know if this solar eclipse is going to bring devastation with it. I don't feel that it will, but anything can happen. And there are so many things happening, even in areas that we may not be able to understand or fully recognize as of yet, because there's a lot happening under the surface. And I mean under the surface in many different places in the world that we'll never probably ever know about, or at least we might not know about it for a long time, and that's fine. That's just the way it is. We can't have our finger on every pulse in the world of every happening. But there may be electrical shortages. There may be some kind of outcome that may happen all of a sudden. But I truly feel, just intuitively, instinctively, I feel that there's the change that is happening, that this solar eclipse is bringing us, has already been happening. And that is the change within ourselves. That is the awakening. That is the shifting of consciousness. That is the questioning ourselves and relationships and life. That is the shadow work. That is uncovering our light and exposing depths within ourselves so that we can transform, so that we can align more with our authenticity, with our light, with a new world, right? And this is happening. So I feel this solar eclipse is amplifying something that already has been happening. It is amplifying and supporting this new phase. Now, there's been something really interesting happening in numerology as well. I can't recall the name offhand, but I'll post something on my community board for you to check out because it is pretty interesting. But it just goes back into this intuitive sense that what we are experiencing is a product of a bit of a reset within ourselves and within life, within the evolution of humanity. That really has had a big shift since 2020. And this is, I feel, another big continuation from that time. I feel it's really important, and I see it in the spiritual community. I see it, of course, in mainstream, but it's interesting seeing such hype and fear and intensity being promoted or amplified in the spiritual community, which I say that word lightly because I don't know what else to say. I don't know what other term to use when I say spiritual community. I guess that's what it is. But there's a big component of us evolving out of fear and evolving into alignment and into a new state of being, into a new state of existence. And this overhyped, over-dramatized content that is being published in this community that is, I have to be careful what I say because it's a tricky subject. I feel, and this is my own opinion only, that being on a path of awakening, of shifting, of change, of healing, of transformation, of ascension, of self-actualization, part of that path and part of that experience is to release from fear. That is the whole point of my content, is to understand our shadow and to create greater awareness within ourselves, deepening our practice and deepening our self-awareness and deepening our self-actualization. And through that, we become more enlightened. We become more engaged and aware and at peace. And so seeing all of this fear-based media and marketing and advertising and content, boom, 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 like going out there with such aggression is completely contradicting and contrasting the opportunity for us to understand ourselves and life from a deeper place. It's still hovering around the surface of where we used to be and how we used to act. And well, in all reality, how humanity still acts and reacts. So I hope this is coming out right. So what I'm seeing in this type of community or realm, I don't know how else to call it, it's almost contradicting the practice or contradicting or contrasting our evolution and truthfully contrasting the potential of this time. It's completely polarizing, or even creating a duality between the light and the dark within ourselves, and removing ourselves from the potential of this solar eclipse and everything that it's bringing to us and everything that we can connect with and the change that we can create within ourselves. And by understanding and tuning in with energy and tuning in with ourselves and tuning in with the world. And it's good to be aware and it's good to pay attention to what's happening in the world, but through the lens of observation, not fear and not worry, and not falling into the propaganda and the hyping and the fear-based content, fear-based or excitement content or prophecies. And I know it's tricky because there's a lot of symbolism and very interesting things happening that can be looked at and can be studied that don't really offer an exact answer, but are quite interesting when you connect the dots with certain things. And I find that very fascinating. But it's up to us to fully understand within ourselves intuitively what it could mean, and not let that be the answer that we live by. So we can decipher and understand, question, reflect, but not base our truth on until we know within our hearts what is the truth for us individually, or maybe for the world, for humanity. And it's a tricky thing. It really is. I mean, for me, it seems very simple. But again, I'm going to go back to my statement that I recorded during the third eye opening video of how much we've complicated our lives and complicated the world and complicated our inner making, our inner workings. And so when all this fear-based content is being pushed out in such a mass, direct way, it does create a lot of fear, and it does create some kind of also unconscious response to it. So maybe you've had this experience yourself, maybe you're not really noticing anything, and that's fine. But I can't help but now say something because it is very prevalent, and it's very strong. And a lot of people are talking about it. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with conversations and looking at things through a different lens and questioning and analyzing and probing and having conversations around it. I think it's wonderful, but it's in the way that it's directed, in the way that it is, again, marketed, that is over exaggerated and overhyped and fear based, especially mainstream media. That's what's going on right now is very intense, and I feel a lot of it is somewhat unnecessary. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be eating my words soon. Who knows what will really happen? It's hard to say. But I just want to record this tonight as I'm reading my book here. And it's just really been on my mind a lot, and I'm feeling it a lot. And I can't help but go on social media because I have some accounts, and I'll tend to get lost a little bit here and there in the space. But I'm finding it more and more. It's almost getting too noisy. I can't even focus on in learning anything more or valuable information that these accounts or other astrologers are providing, because it's very noisy right now. And so I just want to say, also use your intuition. Number one, always what you feel, detached and removed from the fear and from the worst case outcomes. Because I truly feel that what has been happening lately, especially during the lunar eclipse, starting on the lunar eclipse, coming into this point, is we are going through a rapid upshift. We are going through rapid change, and in a good way. And truthfully, I mean, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for everyone, because I've been catching a lot of your messages on YouTube here, and then from other channels, other sources, other friends, people. We're all on a different path. We're all experiencing things differently, but I've never felt more amazing in my life. Really. It's just, I feel, coming out of a very dark time, and now a wave of energy has come in. I feel around the lunar eclipse in Libra, and especially with all of the solar flare activity and whatnot, has really shifted quite a lot within myself. And I've never felt so amazing in my life. If it'll last, I don't know. But for now, I feel there is a lot of good to look forward to, a lot. And I've been going through the motions. I've been doing the work. I've been observing and tuning in. And I can't stress how important it is to detach for a bit and tune in with yourself and feel and find a place of calm and focus on your thoughts, your emotions, your body, in a place of understanding and compassion, and giving yourself some time to work through this. Because I feel in my heart that this is happening to help us for the progression and the evolution of humanity. So if something bad or drastic does happen during the solar eclipse, it is going to happen for a reason. And it's I talk about it often. Many other Buddhist teachers talk about this. Many other spiritualists talk about this. This is whatever happens that may cause difficulties in the world is happening for a reason. And it is allowing, in a weird way, I know, it is allowing for the evolution. Maybe not in the way that we want and that we expect, but I feel just seeing things unfolding the way that they are more and more, and seeing the evolution of humanity and of yourselves out there and myself, it is happening perfectly. It's messy, but I see it more and more, and I understand it more and more, why it is happening this way. And there's something really interesting to it. So I hope this offers a little bit more guidance or help if you are feeling it, I want to say do not fear the solar eclipse. I want to invite you to see what it's offering you as far as change within yourself, an opportunity, and a doorway, an opening, a new direction, a new version of yourself, a refresh. There's stuff happening in numerology, as I mentioned. I'll post it on the community board, but I do feel it's a bit of a restart. I do feel it's a bit of a really powerful, it's a powerful boost in some kind of way, which is, it's a beautiful thing. However it lands, wherever it lands, I hope it finds you well.